backing music was used illegally.
That ExP with Remarkable, Unremarkable. He made the album to lift himself up and pull him out of the quagmire. Ain't we all, man? Ain't we all, brother?
I went on a stag do to London the other year.
Very special guest, ExP from Flame Griller, the West Yorkshire rap crew. He's a top bloke. Buy everything he does.
The WYcast is made possible by people going on the ExP homepage, www.exp.uk, and buying my albums on vinyl and CD and getting merch as well. So big thanks to everyone who has, and if you enjoy these podcasts, please consider helping out by going and buying some. Welcome to the WYcast Series 4. Big up if you've been here before. But if you've not, then you've missed a lot, and I've quickly got to get you up to speed for sure. So I'm ExP, or people call me Ben, hip-hop musician based in Leeds, who's being more intent to promote the scene full of dope MCs, dope producers, dope people whose hopes and dreams involve being part of hip-hop. Might be the love of their life, they might do it just on the side, or go whole hog and it's a company vibe. We're just looking to push hip-hop in West Yorkshire, WY, so with a GoPro and a couple of mics, a Zoom recorder, some seats and things, I meet them in somewhere scenic, and we begin this episode of the WYcast featuring Keighley Sutherland, a guy who most people will be familiar with who listen to this podcast, I'm sure. Someone who should have been on one of the earlier episodes of it. I had him scheduled in like right between Ron Johnson and King Monk right at the start, but it didn't work out for one reason or another. The guy is an insane talent, really, MCing and producing. Really nice bloke too. Also was kind of doing this podcasting thing before I started, you know what I mean? He was a kind of original WY podcaster. He had various people on the show, including people like Precinct Phantom and Chills and stuff. So yeah, have to give him his props for that, really, piggybacking off kind of what he started. And yeah, we got a chance to chat. This is actually the last podcast I did of 2024. So he's had to be pretty patient for this to come out with the rest of them. But yeah, a really good chat here. Keighley Sutherland. Here he is, in the flesh.
How we doing?
I'm chilling. How are you, man?
Very good, mate. Very good.
Good, brother. Thank you very much for joining me in front of Leeds College of Music, kinda, very near the Playhouse in Leeds. We were going to go Kirkgate Market and get my breakfast, but it was far too busy in there. And actually, truth be told, man, you were meant to be about number 4 of the podcast. I had you booked in the same day. I was doing Monk and Ron, and I was all ready for you, and then for some reason or another, plans just changed. But yeah, I was been desperate to get you on since the day, man. So, fucking big up.
Appreciate it, man. Absolute.
Safe. Well, you're an unbelievable lyricist, and you've got definitely the sickest name in WY. We're all knocking around with terrible MC names, and you're out there with the best of the best, man.
I can't lie to you, lad. I mean, it's pretty good. I mean,
it's fucking
there's been a few times I've been like, you know, it's a bit corny, Keighley Sutherland, but
it got it all, bro. It's
pretty
such
good,
a sick name, mate. And you're an unbelievable rapper and producer, man. You are so dope, and you're a very new name to me, man. Like only in the last 3 or so years I've really known about you, and it seems like you've been getting busier during that time.
Yeah.
Where did it all, because I feel like you're quite late to the rapping as far as I remember someone told me a story of. What's the origin story? When were you born, brother?
I was born in 2003.
Oh, 3? Were you? No, 93.
1990.
You were 1990, right? You're 34,
yeah,
right?
so
Sick guy. So, where were you born, Keighley? Yeah, Airedale Hospital.
Born in Airedale Hospital. Yeah, were you born in Airedale?
Nah, Bromley, Kent, mate. I'm a filthy southerner, that tiny one.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, Bromley. So, and then what brought up in Keighley?
Brought up in Keighley, moved, just basically lived. I've lived in Keighley till I was about 23. Moved out of Keighley. Long story there, but ended up lived in Bradford for a bit. Then moved back home for about 6 months. Yeah, and then I I've lived in Batley now for the last 7-8 years.
Batley, where I found out the WY logo was originally created in a flat. Yeah. The Bain story went that they were sat in a flat in Batley, and that's where they came up with it. So it's got some real roots there, man. That's sick. Yeah. So musically, then, where do you get interested in music? What's the origin story of that? Were your folks showing you it, or we?
I think I've always been into music, but I think specifically if we're narrowing it down to like hip hop, I'd say probably around I mean, everyone was sort of like into Eminem when he first came out.
Yeah.
But I think when my real love for music came from playing Tony Hawk's, like the old Tony Hawk's Pro Skater
1 or
games.
2?
Well, to be fair, it was, I'd probably say 4.
Oof.
3, 4. I mean, I played 3.
I don't know the soundtrack for
4. I mean, it had like Aesop Rock on it.
Oh, damn.
All these underground artists, Aesop Rock, Mr. Liff.
Yeah.
I'm going to say ExP, LP.
ExP, yeah.
Because I
Def
remember
Jux then crew.
Def
by the sounds
Jux,
of it,
yeah, Def Jux. When I first saw your name, ExP, I was like, is that a riff on LP?
Actually, had nothing to do with
Really?
it, but yeah, I definitely was listening to Company Flow before I was called XP, so yeah, probably.
Yeah, Company Flow as well, like massive influences. I mean, through hip hop as well, I've got really into like progressive rock, soul, jazz, and just music in general. I think just hip hop in general is just so good to expand your horizons in terms of like your musical knowledge and your tastes. I mean, it's just a gateway drug into it.
Did you? Because where you grew up, was there a lot of people into hip hop and sharing that interest of music and stuff?
Oh, fuck all, mate.
Fuck
Honestly,
all,
fuck all, yeah.
So were you kind of a bit of a lone planet in that respect, like listening to that stuff?
I mean, to be fair, for many years, it was basically just me in my bedroom, like not knowing anybody else rapping.
Yep.
I think I used to listen to like obviously a lot of American stuff, and then I listened to like Brain Tax.
Pyro Funk's the kind of entry drug in
Pyro
that.
Funk and all that shit. Yeah. And then I cottoned on to like Lunacy, and then obviously through Lunacy I cottoned on to yourself, Synoptic Records, and that sort of gave me a little of a glimmer of
Oh
hope,
shit! So
really,
you copped onto that shit in 2012, right?
2012,
That's sort of, or even a bit earlier.
Yeah.
Damn. 9, 10, and so you did you get onto learning through battles? You see the battles, or
yeah. Lunacy's battles, and then through that it was just early tunes he did.
Yeah.
And then just sort of like realising there's people local that are doing it.
Yeah.
And then slowly but surely over the years, sort of like people started to come out of the woodwork, like Chills and. Them type of people.
So were you, in terms of your, at what point did you start messing around with the creation process of music rather than just appreciation?
Probably say like initially like probably like 2003.
Fucking hell, right. So only the last 11 years or so. So it's your early 20s. And what was the tipping point where you went, do you know what?
Early 20s, 2003.
2003. Oh shit, no, early teens.
Yeah,
my bad.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, it's all right, man. It's all right.
I had my breakfast shit.
Fair enough. I think 2004. I had do you remember? What's it called now? It was a very like a sort of a family-friendly music production suite. EJ.
Oh, Hip Hop EJ?
Yeah.
I made the beats on my first ever release on Hip Hop EJ, bro.
Yeah, EJ, man. Hip Hop EJ. Free. It came free with a cereal. Now, I don't know what cereal it was. So, I can't remember what cereal it was. But, I made a few beats on that.
Yep.
Sort of messed around with it. And then my mate, he had a massive hip-hop collection. He had all instrumentals, all B-sides,
Damn.
So he used to send them to me on MSN.
Right, yeah.
And then I had a little cheap £3 mic. And then I just basically record it and then listen to it through headphones, and then I'd send him the file over, and then he'd slice it in on. I think it was I can't remember what software it was.
Yeah.
But then we made a little mixtape back in 2005.
Mental.
Yeah, KLY Click.
Whoa, man, that's crazy. KLY Click, and he was a Keighley lad as well, was he?
Yeah.
Shout him out. What's his name?
Oh, he's called John. Yeah, same name as me. Like, he's on. I don't know what he's doing these days. He's got a family and that. But
did he sell his hip hop collection?
I've no idea.
So, fucking hell, KLY Click coming off the back of some hip hop EJ beats, and you were called what at the time?
I didn't have a name, to be fair. It was just KLY Click. It was just me
was
and
that,
him.
was it UK American accent or were you English accent?
Funnily enough, it was. It was a UK accent. It was very. It's hard to describe, really. It was. I tried I just basically recorded it, and it came out. Like, when I listened back to it, like, I don't have any of the recordings now, but when I listened back to it a few years ago, when I still had the recordings, when they were still on MySpace, until it all got purged, it sounded actually pretty good. Like, for the time, I was like, you know what, it's authentic. It's the accent's there. I mean, it's not as pronounced as it is now, like, you know, but yeah, it were all like Dr. Dre beats and stuff, you know. Like
okay.
Yeah, so you had all Dr. Dre albums and all singles and stuff. So a lot of like West Coast stuff, like all Ice-T and that. Yeah. I mean, the lyrics were a little bit.
What were you talking about? Were you talking about what you do, or were you posing?
Murders,
drug
dealing.
So everything you knew in real life, then, yeah.
Oh yeah,
growing up as a lad in Keighley. To be fair, you weren't far away. So did you keep doing it after the 03 then, or did you sort of park it after that? Because what was the process of like you doing a bit of production and a bit of rapping? And I mean, just coming back to that, doing it on a £3 mic over some scrappy beats, and you saying you're listening back and sounding fat. I believe that, man, because it'll sound like some raw fucking hip hop. Because when it's too clean, it's the problem, innit? But if it sounds kind of dirty and nasty, I bet it bangs.
Well, that's it. Like, people are trying to go for that now, aren't they?
Clean as fuck versions of shit. I hate that. People
are trying to go for that sort of dirty, like really analog, dirty, disgusting recordings. Like, but back then I were achieving it with a £3 mic. I got from a little shop in Keighley.
Nice, and a bit of software that you got off the back of a pack of Cheerios or some shit. So 03, you're doing this Keighley stuff, KLY stuff. Did you carry on with the writing? Did you ever? I suppose you put it on MySpace and stuff then. So were you linking up with people and sending them your stuff, or?
Absolutely not, mate. It was literally MSN. A few people on MSN. I think I ripped the CD. I gave it to a few people in school, but I never went anywhere apart from, I never went past there, to be fair. Like,
yeah. Fair enough. So we've still got 20 years to cover between here and there.
A lot of nothing, mate.
Like, a lot of nothing, really?
A lot of nothing, yeah. A lot of just sitting around procrastinating. Obviously using a cracked copy of FL Studio.
Nice. To making beats, so you were kind of carrying on making beats and that?
Yeah. So just playing around in FL Studio from like 2006 to...
Sick.
Yeah, till whenever I started, 2022. Just pretty much in the same zone, like just sort of putting things on SoundCloud, taking them down, messing around with shit, like, not really getting anywhere, or sort of. I mean, I've done like things in between, like music related things, but nothing in terms of putting out music like I am, obviously now.
Yeah. And you said you weren't getting anywhere. Was that just because like you'd make the beat or whatever and just listen back and be like, nah, not really feeling it too hard, or was it like?
Just not having the confidence, I guess. Not having the confidence, not knowing anybody either. Like, not knowing anyone who makes music and.
When did you start making those links then? Because obviously you know half the scene now. So when did those links first come about?
Well, to be fair, like I've played it pretty clever. Like I used to co-host a radio show
with
Marky Smith, yeah.
Rhinestone, what was it? What was it called?
Drystone Radio.
Drystone Radio. Word.
So we did Drystone for a bit, and I met a few people on there. A few people reached out on through Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah.
And I met people through there, and obviously just sort of started those relationships with people.
Yeah.
Sort of sowed the seeds. And then when I stopped doing that, I started reviewing music on Instagram.
Yeah.
I had a little page called Norfication.
Norfication, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, I started reviewing music on there, and that's when I've started to, like a lot of people I know now, like Scott Free, just pretty much everybody, like Chills. I think I knew Chills. I think I'm sort of introduced to Chills through Drystone, but obviously through making music and that.
So what were you playing Chills' music on Drystone, or was Mark getting on it?
I think we did. Yeah. I think we played a few of his tunes.
Yeah.
We played a lot of Lens. Lens, he were a lot of Lens. Yeah. We were big fans of Lens.
Nice.
Yeah, he's sick as Lens.
And is it Mark that made that, or did Lentz sort of find you? Was it like you guys were like open submission, or did you guys go searching around trying to find local dudes to get on the show, to play on the show?
Yeah, I mean Marky Smith's an absolute demon. He constantly in people's DMs, like emails and stuff, and just really hungry for it. And to be fair, like a lot of my connections and stuff, end of the day, man, it's due to him,
right?
Sort of, because I just came on the show. I would have said daft shit.
Yeah.
I like the music and that, but I just wanted to be on radio and just sort of use it as a way to sort of do something, creative, I guess, and something a bit funny.
Nice. Is Mark still doing that kind of stuff now?
Not to. He did a stint in Manchester, I believe, on a radio show. I think he's done a few bits in Leeds, but not like he's not as involved with the local scene as he was. You know?
Well, I definitely got an email from him asking for some music at one point. That was many years ago. I think I might have been Tough Crowd, but it was I just remember thinking, all right, and then sort of not really joining the gaps. I don't even know if I sent him anything, which is disgusting considering. But I just, it's just one of those thousands of emails you get into your inbox or whatever, and it's like, even though the guy's trying to support and play music and stuff like that. So have you always had an interest in that? Because obviously, I feel like before I heard your music, but probably around the same time I heard your music, there was the Suthiecast, which was your podcast, which was like, I guess we could say like the original West Yorkshire hip hop podcast, because majority of you were talking about hip hop, and the majority of people that you got on there were West Yorkshire hip hop artists and stuff.
I mean, again, that was another way to meet people. I've always been interested in comedy. So that was, first and foremost, it was all about just having a really stupid podcast, but at the same time as well, meeting people, virtually, but and also sort of, just having a chat with people. We didn't. It wasn't all jokes. We had some serious chats on there.
Yeah, of course.
But I think I did intend it to be more sort of like. More like brass eye, that sort of thing. But I won't taking the piss out of them. But I just wanted it to be silly, a bit silly and a bit stupid.
Well, I remember there was
really.
you had a pretty impressive setup in a sort of green screen vibe. It felt like pre-COVID as well, so you'd managed to get all that background stuff going on that people had on Zoom for years. But you had this whole like desk where you sort of operated from, looking like you were in a big newsroom or like InfoWars or something. It looked sick, man. Was that just you fucking around with effects and stuff like back then?
There's literally me and my like bottom half was literally I didn't have any pants on. Obviously, I had underwear on. Yeah. Me sat on my couch, big green screen behind me.
Yeah.
And a mic, and obviously a microphone. In the video, what are they called? Cameras? little camera on top of laptop.
Oh, yeah.
This disgusting old laptop that I've still got to this day. I've had it since, I think, 2016, but just sat there in my underwear, just talking absolute drivel. But it was funny because they could see me, like when they obviously saw their screen, they could see me in the studio, so they didn't get the CGI effect. Everyone was seeing you just in your pants on the couch. No, they could see the CGI effects, which is funny, man. And I was obviously behind the desk and stuff, and it was just, honestly, like I watch it back now, and I'm like, how the fuck did I do that?
Have you ever thought about bringing that? Well, I remember you posting about bringing it back. Is it something? Because I think it's something the scene could do with, even just for like something a bit different to the sort of standardised model of podcasts. It's just a bit different, and it sort of gives you an opportunity to not just talk to hip hop heads, a bit of everyone. Have you thought about bringing it back?
You know what? I'd absolutely love to do it, but I won't do it as Keighley Sutherland. I won't do it as John. I'd do it as another character.
Oh, okay. Have you got some characters in the back burner? You don't have to go into detail.
Well, there's I've had a few ideas. Like, to be fair, it's something I've been thinking about, like, probably last few weeks.
Right.
I've definitely got ideas and stuff, but
mate, that's sick.
I think in terms of obviously like podcasts, I mean you're doing an absolutely brilliant job,
Thanks,
man. Like,
mate. It's a very standardised format there. Isn't it?
But it works so well. Man.
Yeah.
It works so well. I mean,
but yours was like interesting and funny and stupid and had kind of ideas, and you do stuff with them which was like, like I'm never gonna like jump a practical joke on you on a random or something, do you know what I mean, at this point, whereas like stuff like that, it felt like there was more opportunity to do. And at the time you came through doing your the same time you were kind of rapping, and I'd seen you for the first time, at the same time you were podcasting, you were wearing the balaclava or the rag or whatever you called it.
Yeah, the rag, the Turin shroud.
And I'd never seen your face, and I was, do you know what, I'm going to admit it now on camera, I was a bit gutted when I first saw your face. Not because you aren't a gorgeous, handsome man, but but because I was like, the mystery is over.
Yeah,
I always wondered what you look like under there. And I was but I quite like the fact that, I know it's been done before, like, you know, Doom or whatever, but it was an intrigue, and it was like, there he is on stage with, you know, you'd be doing gigs and stuff. I'd seen pictures, and there he is with the rag on his face, and it was a really cool thing. Was it something you'd always wanted to do because obviously you sort of talked to me about coming through as Keighley Sutherland. Did you, and were you straight with the rag from the beginning of Keighley Sutherland?
Keighley Sutherland is a very complicated story. It's a very complex story.
Talk to me.
So basically, end of 2021, I was off work. I had some medical issues.
Right.
So I had a lot of time off work. I had basically a full year off. I went into work now and again, but it was literally, nearly a full year of just basically being at home. So I had obviously a lot of spare time. So initially, I started doing something on YouTube, and it was like sort of like reaction videos to stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that slowly morphed over the course of 2 days. Literally, obviously, I've known Ron since 2020.
Word.
He sent me the beat for Mason Jar.
Oh, classic.
And something somewhere deep inside me resonated with that beat.
Yeah, because it's a fucking banger.
And honestly, hand on my heart, I've not spat a single bar before 2022 since like 2016.
Damn. Right. So you've been like 2022, did you say? So
yeah,
you
2020. This is I started it. Yes, 2022. It was January.
6 years out of the game, right?
January. Yeah. January 2022.
Yeah.
Just I got a few beats off people I knew, and again connections. You know, like people I've met through radio, and lad called Cluso, who was part of New Zoo.
Oh, yeah.
It was a Bradford hip hop group
Nice.
with a guy called Paz. It's called Blix Manics now.
Right.
They send me beats through. Chill. I had a beat off Chills that I bought off him in 2020 as well, so I used that beat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just started recording. Make it literally just every day, just writing, recording, and just trying to get better at it. You know, like I was using a really shit mic.
Yeah.
And then I invested in a better mic. I invested in the Rhodes, which I've still got to this day.
Classic Rode, yeah. Nice.
Started producing, like getting more into producing myself, meeting people, reconnecting with Section as well.
Reconnecting, so you'd already kind of knew each other from before then?
Well, just to go back on that, so with Section, I knew who he was. We had some conversations like over the years, but we initially met in 2016.
Yeah.
I used to work with a lad called Cam, who's
Contraband.
Yeah,
I know him. Yeah.
Contraband. A lad called Cam. So he said we were just at work, and I was talking to him about rapping, and he said, "Oh yeah, I know Lunacy." And I was like, really?
Yeah. He lived in down with Phoenix and a lot back then, yeah.
Phoenix, the Renaissance band as well. I was like, wow, okay. And then he invited me to this cypher at Sections. So we all went over, and it was like, wow. It was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, okay. So, you know, I obviously knew about Lunacy and that, but you know, I'm in the room with his brother.
Yeah,
you know,
Mash.
and I put Lunacy on, and I still do to this day, on a massive pedestal in terms of like hip hop and like what he's done for us. You know.
Word.
So and then we sort of fizzled out. I lost contact with Seki.
Right.
Did speak to him here and there over the years, but I sent him a beat. And then he jumped in it, and then we started just working a lot more closely.
Yeah.
And we just found a really good connection.
Working relationship, it seems like. You're always like producing for him, or he's almost producing for you, or you're on each other's tracks or whatever, or it's a really sick.
Yeah,
and you seem to like do a lot of work together as a result of it. Like, I think it's always important to have someone to like bounce ideas off, like, which you must be doing constantly. Like.
100%, yeah. So I mean, me and Seki, we've hit it off, you know, straight out of the gate, basically.
Dope.
And obviously meeting people through Instagram, like Mighty Mindless Cartoons.
Yeah.
Ron obviously a massive part of it as well.
You said you didn't meet Ron till 2020, yeah?
That's true, yeah.
I thought you guys were like way back in the day. How did you guys meet? Just online as well?
So basically, I reviewed, it was the Obi Joe album that he'd done with Ron. And then I reached out to Ron on Facebook just to say what a sick job he'd done, basically. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm from. I think he was living in Keighley. I don't think. No, was he? No, he was living where he is now. But he said, oh yeah, I used to live in Keighley for a brief period. Okay, so
sick.
Yeah. Then obviously, just Ron sent me beats. Yeah, just.
So you had that beat from Chills, and so we're back to 2022 here, with January 2022.
We are,
and you're starting to record on a Rode mic that you've just copped.
Oh no, that was March.
Oh,
so
that was March?
Yeah.
Okay, safe.
So I've done 2 albums on this really shit microphone.
Yeah.
And then just people started showing love on Instagram and that, and
sick.
I was like, okay.
And as Keighley Sutherland is this?
As Keighley Sutherland, right. So it just sort of spiraled from there, I guess. And
when you were putting stuff out on Instagram, because I don't think I'd clocked onto it 2022 then. So when you put stuff on Instagram, like, did you have you'd gone with the name? And you'd done the balaclava and shit. Were you showing your face as that? And what was the thought behind that? Is that something you'd already, because we were kind of talking about the photo, is that something you sort of considered as a character and thought about before you even put the music out, that you'd like present it that way?
Yeah, it's sort of like an idea, it's sort of like, I had the idea. To be fair, at first it was just because I didn't want to
get your face.
I didn't want to show my face, basically.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be all about the music.
Of course.
And if I'm going to do this, it's I don't want it to be egocentric. I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be more about the music and the idea of what it represents. The mask and the anonymity. And just like putting hip hop first, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm putting the music first, and Ron's a massive MF Doom fan.
Of course.
I mean, I'm a fan of MF Doom. Don't get me wrong, but he's a massive.
He's crazy with it. I get it.
He alluded to. He made allusions to MF Doom, and that sort of stuck with me a little bit. And then I've no idea why I took it off. To be fair, I just think it got to a point where I was just like. I don't know really. I couldn't give you an answer as to why I took it off.
Because it got hot in summer.
Yeah.
And at the point you were performing, you must have got off stage and gone, fuck this shit.
It was absolutely disgusting.
Of course it was, bro. Yeah.
Especially doing those Suthiecast for like an hour.
Yeah, with it on. Crazy shit, man. But good on you. A good commitment, and I think it will have helped people like go, what the fuck is this? And keep having a good eye on it. So 22 March, things are just starting to move quicker and quicker, is it? Because one thing about you, bro, like, you do seem to be like, you don't just put a track out and go, anyway, see you later, 8 months later, one more track. They always seems to be like, I've got a fucking massive project, and then another massive project, and then like, you've got tracks and tracks and tracks. Do you find yourself just creatively, are you just like writing and recording and producing and writing, and are you just always doing something?
I'm always writing. And I'm always recording. I mean, not to be completely honest with you. Like the last year, I've done it. I've probably done it more than some people.
Yeah.
But not as much as I did when I started out.
Right.
But again, it's like that initial thrill, that initial, that confirmation that you're putting out. People sort of appreciating it and giving you good feedback, and it gives you that rush, that adrenaline rush, and you just start putting more music out. But now I just want to be more refined. I'm thinking long term now. I'm I'm getting older. I want to just put out good music, and I want to initially, well, I want to put out a vinyl, cassettes.
Yeah.
Just make a better product.
Yeah. Is that on the horizon? Have you thought about how that could come about, or have you got projects that are like, this is the one that's going to make it in that you've already recorded or whatever? Or
out of what I've recorded so far, I don't think so. I don't think there's anything that I'd think I'd want to put on vinyl. Maybe cassette, but like a lot of stuff that I've done recently, like that I've not released, is probably nearly there, I'd say,
Yeah?
like vinyl worthy. And again, you know, the music's there for people to listen to.
Yeah.
But I've always said this, like, you know, I don't do it for myself. I do it for my inner child.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do it for the younger me.
Young John.
The young John, the 12-year-old kid listening to 14-year-old kid listening to Aesop Rock in his bedroom.
Yeah,
You know what I
vibing
mean?
off it. You're doing it for him the whole time. That's
Yeah,
cool, man.
yeah.
Is that what pushes you to write the most? Is just like that need to do it? Because I'll say this, like you seem to find your sound, and you don't really sound like anyone. Now, obviously, you've got the Yorkshire accent and this, that, and the third, but like you don't. And you've got a cadence with the way that you rap, which is really unique to you, flow-wise. Like quite a lot of gaps in it. It's not like you're not scattergun, you're not like hibbity bibbity bibbity bee, but you are you, and everyone knows it's you when you're on a track, and I think that's really fucking dope.
Oh, cheers, man.
Oh, safe, man. It's very unique to you. Do you find it easier to write because there must have been a period of time where you were just throwing shit at a wall and it wasn't working, and then you found your way to write, or have you always kind of written a bit like you do now?
I've always written like I do now, yeah. It's always been very, what's the word? There's an expression, stream of consciousness.
Yeah, word.
Very stream of consciousness. You know, I've never wanted to sort of date it either, or I've never wanted it to be, I mean, you listen to it and it's definitely Yorkshire hip-hop, but I've always thought, like, if I can do something which is identifiable to Yorkshire,
Yeah.
but on a worldwide level.
Yeah.
Because I love the fact that we've got this beautiful scene, man. This beautiful West Coast scene.
West Coast?
West Coast. Stop, wait. But I think like what we've got is so unique. I mean, look at America. Look at the parts of America, like obviously like New York, West Coast. But look at how big that is worldwide, and look at like how London's come up now as well. You got London, you got all like the grime scene, the drill scene. I think hip hop is a universal language.
It is.
I don't think it'll never be like super mainstream what we do. But
Nah.
Who cares about mainstream?
Fuck mainstream, innit?
Fuck mainstream. There's so many listeners out there. How many people live on this planet? Like, is it 5 billion?
It's 7, I think.
7 billion. Where did 2 billion come from?
Just in the last couple of years.
Fucking hell. Yeah, I mean, there's so many ears. There's so many ears out there to like listen to music and that, and it's like there's so many like, you meet people, and you're like, you just don't know what people are listening to. Like, just like when I used to listen to like Brain Tax and that. Like obviously he's from Leeds, isn't he? I mean, we won't go to Brain. I know he's done some shady shit, like
Yeah.
But
you can still look back as an influence, man. Yeah, you hasn't? Yeah.
No, did he?
Mate, it is. Yeah. Do you do it with the intention that maybe 7 billion people will listen to you one day, or do you kind of know in your heart of hearts that won't be the case, or? Do you want to be like you? How would you deal with suddenly being the most famous rapper in the UK? Do you know what I mean? Would you be at a... Because I'd love to see a Keighley Sutherland tour. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see you ripping it up in London and people knowing about your name and that kind of thing. But is it something you want? Or is it not about... Is it more that making music's something you want?
I'll tell you what, man, I'd be dead within a week.
You reckon?
I'd be dead within a week, man. I'd have to be on so many drugs.
We've talked about the anonymity of the
I mean, yeah, that mask is getting washed. It's getting pressed, it's getting ironed, it's back out again. There's no way. There's no way I can look at 3,000 punters with a naked face, mate. Oh, no chance at all. You're gonna have to have some sort of shield there.
How do you find performing live then? Is there an anxiety level due to the fact that you feel that way?
Yeah, I suffer from anxiety. Quite badly at times, but not.
You never seem like it on stage. When you're up there, you always seem like you've got it. You're just like you are now. Do you know what I mean? Confident and just as you are.
It's a headspace. It's something I need to find and warm into, and I need to sort of bend my perception of reality rather than go into the reality of anxiety and thinking that nobody's listening or that the crowd's hostile or going into those negative thought spaces.
Yeah,
you need to almost create your own reality.
I like that.
Go into the headspace of the character of Keighley Sutherland, the idea of Keighley Sutherland.
Yeah,
because Keighley Sutherland is it's me. Obviously, it's coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
You know, but it represents ideas, abstract ideas, and you know.
This was interesting. You were saying before there was kind of a character. There's a kind of character idea. What is the, if you are able to say, what is the idea behind Keighley Sutherland before the police come and get you?
The idea of Keighley Sutherland is, well, it's bigger than Keighley, man. Like I know I'm called Keighley Sutherland, but it's more of a play on Keighley Sutherland, the actor.
Of course. But there's a character. You sort of alluded to the fact that when you're on stage, it's sort of that Keighley Sutherland. What is that in your head? Is he a more confident person without anxiety, or is he still the same one?
Yeah, it represents the sort of the idea that we can do it. You know, the positivity, the willingness to go. You know, the spirit of Yorkshire, of you know
that.
the people. Doing it by yourself, you know, fuck the mainstream, you know, fuck all these cunts, man.
Yeah. It's funny with hip hop because not even MF Doom, plenty before that, including Ghostface Killer, who was always meant to go with a mask in the early years. So whenever like the old '93 Wu-Tang stuff, he wore a mask the whole time. I think there is this. We are all running with personas. Like ExP is Ben Goodwin, but I'm not the same when I'm ExP. It is, and without wanting to like give yourself a superhero pseudonym, it's not about that. Like I'm not going to save a child from a burning building. But it is a different state of mind. Like like I'm on stage tomorrow, and I know I'm going to have to be different than I am now, because it's no good to just be like, you know, I feel good, I feel chilled and all the rest of it, but like on stage you have to be a different person and talk to people differently and sort of be in your head differently.
You do, yeah.
And I think that I think it's really important more than anything else. I mean, jazz did have this a bit. There were sort of characters that were created with their different pseudonyms and stuff. And I think it's important to have that in hip hop. I think there are rappers who just go with their name or whatever, but I don't know, it's kind of, it's not as interesting. And I think more people are interested in hip hop when there is that sort of element of reality meeting kind of fabrication, but like I think it's more interesting for people
filling in the gaps. I like the idea of the mask filling in the gaps, because like you said, like you were saying, you were disappointed when I took it off, and I totally get that. No, I get it. I 100% get that. And
I think if you'd have come out as John Tay in 2022 and just been like, yo everyone, I'm John,
this is me, John.
All right, John. Oh, John's got a rap album out. Who gives a but like suddenly this Keighley Sutherland, he's got a balaclava on. Who the fuck is this guy? Like,
who is this guy?
It's interesting, isn't it? It's intrigue and
I love the idea of like, you know, just abstracting the brain, filling in the gaps as well.
Yeah.
Which is why I like a lot of my favourite rappers are like very abstracty, like, you know, LP.
Yeah.
You know, those like the sort of late 90s, early 2000s Def Jux sort of like weird sci-fi dystopian shit, like that sort of vibe.
People are taking it in all sorts of interesting directions. That's another thing with you. I was thinking to talk to you about your genre of, because I'm obsessed with this, like, you're either boom bap or you're trap or whatever the fuck. You have traversed every single genre, I would say. Like, I've heard a bit of grime by you. You've definitely been on drill and trap kind of stuff, and then you'll do your classic, you know, Mason Jar, I think of as really classically boom bap and stuff, and you seem to just be totally confident in any of those sort of musical styles.
I really love I listen to a lot of music, and I'll be honest with you, I love there's not many genres I don't like.
Right.
You know, I love all music, and as long as it sounds good to me, you know, I'm listening to it basically. But in terms of like what I'm recording, I find myself more towards the boom bap side, the UK, the hip hop side of it. Like, because I love
listening to you on that shit.
Poetry, like I want to sound like a knobhead saying I'm a poet. Or
you are, bro. We're all poets, isn't it?
Yeah, we're all poets, like, you know.
Word.
But I love like southern, like, you know, like trap music and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
more
Dirty South.
Dirty South stuff. Yeah, like I grew up on a lot of like Ludacris and Chamillionaire and all that shit.
Nice.
Yeah. So I've always been into that, but. And I enjoy making that sort of music, but I just hip hop is like that speaks to me more. It's just there's just something there. It makes my it gives me goosebumps.
Nice.
You know?
Makes your heart sing kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like.
I just listen to I've always liked UK hip hop, but I've never really dived into it. Like I listen to I've just recently been listening to like Jest and stuff, and obviously knew about him for a while, but only from features with Foreign Beggars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In the past, but listening to his music, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And this guy, I mean, he's a big name in UK hip hop, but to a lot of people, he's
internationally not renowned necessarily.
No, but still, how good is he?
Yeah. He's more of a poet when we talk about poetry.
Wow.
Like the stuff he's doing with language is incredible, but
incredible.
And the people who are into him are really into him.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's not. It always feels like that level of poetry always feels like a bit of a glass ceiling. Anyone who's had that ability has. And some are on record saying it. I know Jay-Z literally said I dumbed down and stuff. Like some people just don't. Have to bring it to a level which is more of a lowest common denominator. Because I think you could probably play Jest to some people who aren't into hip hop for the lyricism and the poetry, and they'd be like, meh. Do you know what I mean? Put me something that bangs on that I can go to the club or ride out in my car to or whatever kind of thing. And which is kind of sad, but at the same time, what people are consuming and how they consume it is kind of entirely up to them, isn't it?
Yeah. I think as long as I get that, I like the idea of it being class, people seeing it as sort of more artistic and more, But I think essentially it boils down to if the listener enjoys it, and the performer, the person who's recording it, is audibly having a good time. Yeah. I listen to a lot of rappers and they're absolutely talented, and I'm blown away by it, but I'm only blown away by it for 2 minutes, and then that's it. They've impressed me. Yeah. But they just sound like they're not having fun.
They're not. Live, that happens more often than not. Yeah. I see so many people whose performances are just like, I don't want to be here, almost, and it's like, really, it's like this, and you can tell, I think, a recorded piece of work that the rapper doesn't like. I always worry about rappers or producers who are just like, I don't listen to it after I've done it at all. It's like, really, I suppose there's a point where you love it and then you're sick of it because you've mastered it and mixed it to a point, and it's like, I get that moving on point, but you can often tell when people aren't in love with the project, but they've just released it because they felt like they had to or whatever. That's really problematic.
It should never be a chore making music. It should always be an act of fun. Yeah. First and foremost. Yeah. A lot of time it is cathartic for people as well. It's we all go through the same sort of shit. We all need to process it in different ways, and I find just writing, even if it's not about my granddad's dead, my grandma's died, I've totaled my car, I've lost $500,000 on lottery, whatever, on the crap slots, I don't know, but people are like, whatever your problem is, it's so cathartic to just put a pen to paper or put fingers to a digital keyboard.
Has it been good emotionally as an outlet for you, sort of with the shit you've been through and the shit you feel? Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's really put things into perspective. Yeah. And one thing I want to say as well, I still feel quite awkward about putting music out and performing, and
really,
I don't know if many people feel the same, but when we're obviously when I'm in Leeds and that, when I'm with the boys, when I'm with the lads and that, and we're all we meet up and have pie side, and I'm around his house, doing this and that, When you go to my day job, it's like I don't tell anybody I rap.
That you do that, nah.
They might allude to it. They might. A lot of I don't know.
It's a famously awkward conversation, that talking to the layman, especially. Well, I mean, there is almost like a peek behind the curtain of the Clark Kent don't tell people he's Superman, and we're back to this sort of superhero alter ego. It's like you don't want to, because. And also there's a kind of realization that the other person has, you haven't got the time to explain to this human being. At the very best, they're going to kind of listen to music and get it, but otherwise it's all bets are off. It's going to be awkward shit. They're not going to like it, they're not going to get it, and you're going to feel like, why did I even mention it to this cunt in the first place, isn't it? But I always want people to find out about me vicariously, and then oh, it's you, rather than the other way around of me going, oh, buy my, like going around everyone in Leeds and going, buy my album, buy my album, buy my album. I could, and it would get, it would get my Spotify plays up, but fundamentally it would be awkward and be a bit like, nah. You want people to find out their own way. Like.
I think people, I think people do that too much. I don't know what your opinion on this is, but I think people just sort of the focus more on the marketing side and the pushing it out than the actual product.
It's tricky though, isn't it? So I've been putting music out since about 2006, and it's gone from kind of CDs and no streaming and no digital, and it's slowly got more and more digital, and it's come to a point where it's not good enough to just be like, this is an amazing product, because if you just bob that online, no fucker's going to listen to it. So there has to be this, everyone has to have a foot in marketing, even if it's just your social media presence. And it kind of sucks the life out of it. But I get what you're saying about like the concentration on the product is the most important thing, and the marketing not so much. But
people try. I think people a lot of people want to sort of make it to the mainstream and get a record deal and just become more popular. And I think a lot of it's ego driven. I don't know. That's just my perception of it really. But I think. It's not the same anymore, is it? I think we're just getting old now, We're just too. I wouldn't say we're too old for this shit, but we're definitely too old for some shit,
Yeah. There are. There's every time the younger generation come through, they'll change the state of play, and they'll do their thing with it, and that's been the way with hip hop since it started, since the 70s. You know what I mean? Like the younger generation will come through and do their own thing, and they'll be the ones that people care about, and they don't even have to really care about the market, and it'll just find its way because of like the scene and the community. But fundamentally, the hip hop, it is important that we're just doing it because we love it, innit? And if we stop loving it, you just stop fucking doing it. And if it comes to that or
that's
whatever.
the crux of it.
Or if you love it, but you're not creatively, the juices are flowing, you can be supporting the scene, supporting other people, supporting their music, supporting the community or what have you, finding a way about doing like that, which I feel like you've had a big foot in. You've obviously been you've done a few events. I remember not that long ago you were involved heavily in a medical aid for Palestine event.
Free Gaza.
Yeah, Free Gaza, word, man, which was an amazing effort, which actually had a knock-on effect in starting the WY thing, because I was talking to you about a WY logo that had the Palestine flag in it that we were going to potentially shift at this event for, all profits go to. And in speaking to the WY guys, that's what kind of went, well, we actually do need to get this back in the community. So that process sort of finally set, I've been blagging them for years, but it kind of set that in motion. So you're just getting off your ass and making an event happen for the community and for Gaza was like an amazing thing. Is that have you been in? Was that your first event anyway? Like, or did you put on stuff before that?
That was the first and only event I've put on really,
right.
And I mean, it just a massive thank you to Hyde Park Book Club for literally letting me have it for free.
Yeah, legends.
Which is absolutely fantastic, and really good turnout. I think we made over £400.
Nice.
For MAP, Medical Aid for Palestinians, and just a really good night. And definitely want to do another one, but I want to do other stuff as well. Like I'd love to do like just more charitable stuff, and like be more inclusive of people, like like trans people, people from different walks of life that don't necessarily have that place to express themselves in the hip hop community.
Yeah, agreed. I'm a victim. Well, I'm not a victim of this, but I definitely. The majority of WY podcast has been with white males.
White males.
No, that's kind of a representation of the scene, obviously, but it is bad news, and I always have one eye in the like, how can I make this more inclusive? And it's not an exclusive thing, but there are not even a handful of females in the scene.
Yeah, that's true.
I can think of one trans person in the scene.
Yeah,
otherwise, it is just like a sea of men.
Pretty much, yeah.
No, sea of men. And I don't know. I don't know whether there's people out there who aren't cisgen white who are being turned off by the idea of doing hip hop, or whether it's just not that interesting.
Classically misogynistic genre.
Yes, I've really enjoyed hip hop's evolution only in the last decade. Like people talk about like, oh, the music's got worse, or it's not as good as it was in the golden days. But one good thing about hip hop is the inclusivity is a lot better. There are more rappers out and trans in the world than there's ever been, and it's an acceptable thing. And battles, there used to be there was a whole battle scene. When the battle scene was at its biggest, the F word was very prevalent and not cool at all to hear. Like,
we've all been guilty.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've all been guilty.
We've all been lazy and labelled things like, as such, and it isn't cool. So it's good that there's been that education, I think, in that. And I feel like hip hop's moved in a more positive direction as a result of that. Like
100%, 100%. I mean, can you imagine like just some? There's a young female or a young male who's just sat in the bedroom and. They sort of got their eye on the local community, but they're making music, maybe on like the Logic or whatever. They've got a Mac, or they're making music and they're sort of rendering music files out, and they're just sat there and they're not doing anything. They're not putting it on. Maybe put a few SoundCloud tracks out, but imagine like a little event like that, or people doing it more, and then sort of them forcing them, or not forcing them, but giving them that push to come out, and then you never know. It's a snowball effect, isn't it?
Definitely.
And that's why I did the medical aid for Palestine gig, because I thought if I do it, no one else is doing it, but if I do it this one time, it might inspire people to start doing it. It's
Mate, and you raised 3 figures for a charity, man. Like, individually, none of us can afford 400 quid straight in the pot.
That's true.
But like, as a group, as a community, like, what a beautiful thing, and like, what a great cause as well, man. One thing hip hop, I think, doesn't often, especially the mainstream stuff, it doesn't make any point. Like, and it doesn't fight for any injustice.
No.
And there was a time where hip hop was doing that a lot. Early 90s and a bit before, there was a lot of that social injustice, fighting against that kind of thing. And I feel like there is a tendency for people to not want to listen to hip hop that's like, because it's like, oh, I don't want to be judged and I don't want to have that stuff shoved down my throat. But I'd say with your music, as well as other people's in the scene, there is a lot of that, like, fighting against that social injustice thing, man.
I won't say explicitly, but I think spiritually, I'd probably say there is definitely that sort of you can do attitude,
Yeah, I think you speak out against the government a lot, and I think you speak for people who don't have a voice a lot.
Yeah,
in what you do.
Yeah, I guess Keighley Sutherland, and I was thinking about this earlier. Keighley Sutherland is the idea. It's the idea that some random bloke can pick up a microphone and start making music and not be scared of what people think.
Yeah,
and express themselves, because a lot of men don't express themselves, and a lot of men that don't express themselves turn to other things.
Yeah, go
drugs.
One of two ways often, and it can be like down the suicidal route, or it can go into the like over arrogance, misogyny, nightmare route. Like,
They don't have that release, and that's one thing I'd like. If I can leave a legacy, that's probably say that would be very nice. That would be very nice for that to be my legacy.
Beautiful. What does the future hold for Keighley then? You did say before you're trying to get to a place where you're confident enough to put it on vinyl or what have you. What things have got to fall into place for that to happen? Because I feel like you're already there, like ability-wise, music, tunes, and all the rest of it.
Come on, man. Thank you very much.
That's my third handshake, boy.
This guy, man. Like I remember like 2009, 2010, man, seeing this guy's name, man, ExP and Synoptic Records and shit, and man, it's just to be fair, when you think about it, it's pretty amazing. I'm sat here next to you, man. Like,
big up, man. Big up. Well, it's amazing to be sat here next to you, man. You're incredible with it.
Man.
I don't know what's holding you back though, apart from probably the finances to like friggin' push 300 records.
To be fair, nothing is holding me back, and nothing should ever hold you back. If you've got the ability to do it, do it. You know, you have your odd days where you can't be arsed, man, but just do it. But in terms of the future, obviously, me and Seki want to start we want to start. I don't know when's this podcast out.
2025 early January. I'm expecting end of Jan.
Yeah. Okay. So probably by this point we might have something in motion, but we are looking to sort of start like a little mini year collective.
Oh, dope. Beyond nocturnal, this is.
To sort of, it's nocturnal, but to sort of fund, like, as I said, vinyls and cassette releases. And sort of be like not a record label, but like a mini collective, like, you know, man. But yeah, big up Seki as well, man. Like, you know, like that guy, me and him, we've got a nocturnal project in the works. And
that battery was fire.
Oh, thank you very much, man. Yeah. We've got some big tunes coming out, man. It's very exciting, and we've both, like, Seki's so talented, man, and you know, I'm so glad that I met the guy. He's such a character, you know, like he's such a character, man. Like, he challenges me, which is good.
Yeah.
You know, and I think if you don't have that if you find someone like that doesn't challenge you, it's not good. It's not good. I think if it's too easy, it's, you know, pressure makes diamonds.
I get you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But me and Seki, we have a great relationship. Musically, and big love, man. It's you got some stuff in the works for next year. Then for doing stuff like that. Got a project with Los Pelicanos, the Los
Pelican band. Nice. That's going to be fire. His beats are crazy, man.
Yeah,
super
man.
orchestral.
Got an album dropping. Well, it will be out. It's dropping on Christmas Day.
Is it?
Yeah,
and that's
man.
the Lost Pelican one?
No.
Oh, okay, that's right. Okay.
Well, self-produced.
So Christmas 2024, a whole project will have gone out
full
by then.
Projects, yeah.
Right, so you should have copped that by now, but if you haven't, you're on notice, man. Sick.
Yeah, man.
Sick. All right, Keighley Sutherland.
Yeah, man.
I reckon that'll probably do us, man. But it was
100%,
absolutely
man.
Sick to meet you, man.
Yeah, man.
Big
Sick.
the hell up, brother.
Thank you very much, man.
So that was Keighley Sutherland, aka Suthie, legend of the game. If you've never heard of him before, if this is your first, you're like, oh, just checking him out, never heard of him. Go and listen to his music immediately. Go and put it on, well, don't put it on Spotify, buy it on Bandcamp or something, but go listen to it immediately. Like, there's just somewhat there for everyone. The guy's dope and a really massive part of Dubway. So yeah, until next time, big up!